Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a Recon the Role-Playing Game story. I'm titling this one, Sometimes You Just Cannot Catch a Break. One of the bonuses of running mercenaries in Recon is the fact that you can pick and choose your arms and gear, and you can arrange for your own transportation, and you pick and choose what missions you go on, that kind of thing. It gives you significant advantage in most situations. You lose out on the precision fire support, air power, and logistics of the U.S. government, but for the most part, you can compensate for that. In the military, you take what's issued and you go where you're ordered to fight, and you fight whoever you're told to. As a mercenary, your options really open up. That is, until your arrangements fall through. We were playing my friend Earl's game. There were four of us, myself and my friends Larry, Jerry, and Bobby. We'd been on several missions as mercs, and we'd developed a system for travel. I was the one who usually arranged for transport of ourselves and our gear. Normally, I used chartered air travel. It's a bit more expensive, but very reliable, and you could go virtually anywhere, except for this particular mission. The mission was to an island in the Caribbean, and there were political situations that limited my options. There were no charter services that went there. There were no independent pilots with planes wouldn't fly us there. I checked everywhere I could think of. The only transport that I could arrange was a fishing boat from the Caymans. So we were able to fly to the Caymans, but then we had to take a boat to this island. We flew to the Caymans and our gear and with our gear, and we loaded it up. We had no reason to be suspicious, and we set sail. It should have been a 3-hour trip to the island, where we had the task of capturing a general who was smuggling drugs into America. He was to be prosecuted. That was the mission. An hour out from the island, we were 2 hours into our sea voyage. A military vessel intercepted us and took us prisoner. They had us dead to rights. We were on a fishing boat, and they had cannons aimed at us. We weren't, it wasn't happening. Somehow the general had found out about our mission, and to this day we still do not know how. I suspect that the drugs were coming in, and somebody in our government was funding them, and they got wind of the mission and alerted the general. That's my suspicion, but I can't prove anything, so there we go. We were locked up and taken to the island. When we docked, they took us by truck under heavy guard to a castle on the mountain where the general was headquartered. Now, we didn't really resist for two reasons. One, they were taking us to where our target was. And two, there were 13 guys with AK-47s pointed at us. There was no way we could get away. So, they imprisoned us in an old cell. It had waist-high foul water. They took Bobby out to interrogate him. The rest of us looked for a way to escape, but we couldn't find anything. This place was pretty secure. Besides, there were two guards on a walkway 30 feet over us. Each one of them had AK-47, submachine guns. So they were watching us pretty close. About 2 hours later, the guards fell from the walkway into the water. First one, then the other. We drowned them and took their guns. Somehow Bobby had escaped and knocked them off of the walkway. I still don't know how he escaped. He was in another room. The Earl took him into the other room. But we don't know how he escaped, but there you go. It was not long before Bobby opened the cell door and passed out a pistol and an AK-47. He kept one AK for himself. We snuck out. We made our way to the general's quarters and kidnapped him. We tied him up and gagged him. Jerry carried him while the rest of us guarded Jerry and made sure he didn't try anything. The general didn't try anything. We made our way out of the castle and paralleled the road back down the mountain. We didn't want to walk on the road because it was pretty heavily traveled. We made it about halfway down before dawn and it was then that the alarms went up. Larry scouted around and found another path down, while the rest of us hid out in the jungle. The docks were apparently too well guarded. There was no way we were going to make it in there. It took us 3 days to make it to an airfield. The pilot was prepping the plane while workers loaded heroin bundles into the plane. We snuck aboard and hid in the cargo hold. Once the plane took off, Bobby and I moved forward and took control of the plane. The pilot told us he was flying to a secret airfield in Louisiana, which was fine with us. We were heading to America anyway. Unfortunately, about an hour out of Louisiana, a U.S. Navy jet intercepted our plane. He was going to shoot us down. In his mind, he was going to shoot down a drug runner. He had no idea that we were on board. I told the pilot to radio him and surrender, but the pilot said that the radio didn't work. I tried it, and he was not lying. That some of it didn't work. The A-7's cannon fire ripped off our wing, and we went into the ocean. The pilot was not a good pilot, and basically he knew how to fly the plane. That's about it. He died on impact. The rest of us, including the general, were able to get out of the airplane. We found some debris, and we floated on the debris in shark-infested water until a Coast Guard cutter came by and rescued us several hours later. They held us prisoner until we were able to contact our employer. After that, all was well. But up to that point, not one damn thing went right on that mission. Not one damn thing. Plus, we'd lost all of our gear, and that shit was expensive. When you're a mercenary, you have to pay for your own gear, and you want the best, so you buy the best. Well, guess what? That shit was gone. We actually barely broke even on that particular mission. Usually, if you're a mercenary and the mission goes well, you've paid for all your gear. You have to replace, ammunition, used explosives, that kind of thing. And it's you don't have to replace every damn bit of it. But on that particular mission, we barely broke even. Yeah, it was. Earl runs some damn tough games. If you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your social media platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there. And I hope you find something you like, and I hope you enjoy reading it. That's all I got for this week. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.